Mona with Keller Williams.
I'm sorry, second.
Okay. Hi everyone, this is Mona with Keller Williams, and I'm with my client Eric, and we just closed on his house here in Telfair, and I'm just going to give him a quick couple of questions about your experience with me. So Eric, tell us, where were you in your seller's journey before you decided to work with me?
We had been talking about for the last couple of years transition in our life and when we would decide to move and sell the house and downsize as our kids had grown. Had met Mona in the neighborhood and began talking to her and stuff. Recently, though, my job changed where I needed to be relocated into the Fort Worth market. So at that point in time, it became obvious that we needed to sell the house. So we reached out and talked to Mona.
That's right, because I kept kind of talking to you, and finally Pam and you kind of said, well, let me call Mona and see, get her advice for selling my house.
Right. Mona is very tenacious and really works hard in her business and does a lot of marketing. And Pam and I were always impressed that she would consistently know exactly what was going on with us to follow up and see where we were at as we had spoke. So we found that very impressive and thought when it became time to list, Mona was somebody we really wanted to talk to.
So how did you initially meet me? Do you remember?
I do. We live in the same neighborhood, and you were out actively marketing to the neighborhood, and I thought that was kind of impressive. I like direct sales, and I like the fact that you went around the neighborhood, took the time to introduce yourself. You weren't pushy, you weren't overbearing, but you said, hey, this is what my business is, this is what I do. Wanted to get a chance to meet the neighbors, and also tell you if you needed services or in help in the real estate business, that here's who I am. And I thought I found that very impressive. So it always stuck in my memory. So
Exactly.
3+ years, and then we listed and sold it with you. So obviously, there's something there.
Yeah, I remember right when I started up at Keller Williams, I was door knocking the neighborhood, and Eric was one of the first houses that I door knocked, and I said, if you ever need a free comparative market analysis of your house, let me know. And he said, sure, let's get one. And so, I think it was that same night or the night after I came over, showed y'all the CMA initially,
Right.
And you said, well, Mona, we're not ready for selling our house now, but we'll definitely keep you in mind. And so I do remember, consistently following up with you guys, and then finally you reached out to me. So that was exciting when you did call me. So,
Right.
Yeah. So what was your overall experience working with me?
You handled it very well. You were professional. I think your recommendations were solid. To me, facts always speak louder than opinion or whatever, but the fact that we sold the house in 5 days tells you that the professionalism and your understanding of the real estate market is strong. Your recommendation to get an appraisal so that everybody's expectations, that's very wise. I would encourage everyone to listen to you and do that. The evaluation of the home for how you want it set up for visits and stuff along those lines, obviously it all proved to be factual. So 5 days I'd say that's tremendous.
Exactly. In fact, we were anticipating much longer, and then Eric and Pam were like, oh my gosh, we got to move. And so it was exciting to get the house under contract in 5 days, and definitely an appraisal is important in the process. We do look at the comparative market analysis, but the appraisal will give us a really good idea of what the house will sell for, and when we go under contract, it makes it a lot smoother if we've already had it appraised for the price. So another thing is, Eric, would you recommend me to family and friends?
Yeah, absolutely. I think anybody that's selling a home that you come in contact with would be wise to sit down with you and talk about what their expectations are and how you can help them market their home.
Exactly. And the good thing was Pam and Eric really listened to my recommendations, so it made my job as a realtor a lot easier because they really valued my opinion and the recommendations I gave them on different things with the house, getting the appraisal, and getting things decluttered. They really did take that advice and get everything implemented before we put it on the market, and that was exciting. As soon as it got on the market, we got a lot of showings, and then got an offer under contract in 5 days. So lastly, tell us what you would recommend to other sellers who are starting their journey. What kind of advice do you have?
The first thing is talk to a few people, but when you're talking to Mona, listen to what she's telling you, and I think you really need to, again, I'm a big advocate of this appraisal. I think that was the best advice that we had, and it really made it a lot easier to know what your expectations were, because I think that's the biggest challenge that people have, is managing their expectations. So we knew realistically where the house was valued at, what it was going to do, not an inflated value or some unreasonable comp or whatever, but the valuation.
That's
so
right.
I think that's important.
That's good. Well, thanks so much, Eric, for taking the time to kind of give your feedback on me. And I'm very excited that you're closed and ready to move on to your next step in your journey.
Well, we won't be neighbors anymore.
I know. I guess I'll have to go to where you are now, huh? Thank you.
Thank you.